This program features live coverage of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
What a special way to start this evening with one of the last sightings of a chameleon before the winter really takes hold. This is Safari Live.
This is so exciting. We've managed to find the sausage tree pride.
Look at this last dash.
This is amazing.
Look at that incredible strength.
20 seconds.
Here come the cheetah. Unbelievable stuff. I'm just keeping my head on a swivel. You never know what's going to happen next in these situations.
Standing by.
Can you believe this?
3, 2, 1, live.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to a brand new episode of Safari Live right here on SABC3. Now, we're off to a great start. We have Ribbon of the Juma clan sitting there, and my name is Trishala with Seb on camera with me this evening, hoping to bring you the best of the bush this evening. We had a lovely start with the chameleon and some hyenas as well. Now, we are coming to you live from two locations in Africa, the Masai Mara in Kenya and down in Juma Private Game Reserve in the Greater Kruger National Area. Now, it's very exciting to be down here in South Africa and come to you live. And remember that we are interactive, so you can use the hashtag SafariLive on Twitter and chat to us a bit. We'd love to hear your questions and, of course, your comments. Now, let us have a look at who we have here. Hello, Ribbon. Ribbon is one of the famous Juma clan mums, and she's got two cubs that are in the den just near me at the moment. And she is just having a bit of a rest. But before we get totally into the Juma clan and where Ribbon fits in and all her cubs, let us have a look what happened last week on Safari Live.
Last week on Safari Live, two members of the dominant Avoca Lion Coalition played a starring, albeit sleepy role with Trishala. Tlalamba's trail led to a recently killed porcupine. The princess, however, remained elusive. Jamie, through a mixture of intuition, skill and a bit of luck, found Tingana. The Duke of Juma sent his rasping song into the night, confirming to Hukamuri and any other pretenders that he remains the dominant leopard force. Up on the endless plains of the Masai Mara, Lauren giggled at the playful chipolatas of the sausage tree pride, post their bath. And the frightening force of the five musketeers took down a massive wildebeest. This is Safari Live.
And we will continue to delight you in this episode, and especially with a face like this. How can you not be delighted? Now, this is Ribbon, and like I explained to you before, she does have two cubs that are in the den at the moment, and one cub has actually not been seen for the last 2 days. So it's a little bit concerning, but we have faith in Ribbon's ability to be a good mum. In fact, this is her second litter. The first litter that she had was with a female, or of a female named Intima and her brother Lamula. Now, Lamula actually went missing not long after he was born, at a similar time as this current cub is missing. So, a little concerning, but nonetheless, I'm sure Ribbon has no problem mothering both of them. Now, not too long ago, Pat had a slightly more action-packed scene that we have here with Ribbon. He got to see what it's like when two lion prides collide. Now, at the time, we didn't exactly know what was happening or why it was happening, so let's take a look at how the chaos unfolded.
A very warm welcome. My name is Patrick. Joining me on camera is Bongay, and we are coming to you from the Masai Mara. Now we have some lions here with us today. They have had a bit of a meal with them as well. This hippo this morning was found dead of unknown causes, but it wasn't from the lions themselves. Wow, what's going on here? Seems to be a little bit of a dispute here. Oh, sounds like there is a little bit of a fight going on between them. Sometimes this will happen when there is food around. This is a very big pride. So a pride is a group of lions. And this one is called the Olololo Pride, and it's a very big one. There's about 16 or 17 different lions here, as well as cubs too. They are jumping all over the place at the moment. Listen to that. Now I think this is one of the Kichwa males. So I was talking about coalitions before, and I think that this one might be in a coalition of two. So these two lions. I'll have to have a better look at them to fully confirm that, but that is my suspicions at the moment. I think what may have happened is another pride may have come along and tried to get a little bit of their food, this food for themselves, and have been chased away. So they all started running off over in that direction, and I can't see them anymore. It's just all the young ones right now that are eating the food down there, and all of the other ones have gone away into the bushes.
Well, wasn't that absolutely incredible and very, very confusing for Pat? It seems as though lots and lots was going on, and lots of audio and lines coming from all directions. It's very, very intriguing to see what's going to play out with that sighting. Now, my name is Tristan. On camera, I've got Jean-Dre this evening, and, well, we're on the look for a spotted cat. We had a brief visual of a male leopard a little bit earlier, but he gave us the slip, and so what we've done is we've come along to try and see if we can see if maybe he's going to come for a little bit of water. We also had tracks for a female leopard in this area, so there's a water hole that's just down to my left-hand side at the moment. It's a bit dark, and you can see it's not very much water around at the moment at all. It's really a difficult time for a lot of the animals, and so they make their way towards these water points for a drink at this time of the evening. Now, we're going to carry on looking and trying to see if we can find where this male leopard went, but a few weeks ago, James had a spectacular sighting as he had two female leopards interacting.
Hello everybody, welcome to the western fringes of the Great Kruger National Park. My name is James Hendry. We've got Sebastian on camera. Look, we've got both of them here. They're having a bit of a fight. Tundi is salivating and actually being less of the aggressor. Fascinating. So you saw that little hit there. There's little Tlalamba heading towards us now, and she was the one being aggressive. Now Tingana's running towards us, and that's because of the sound that, no doubt, they were making. Tingana's coming right here. I'm going to wait where we are. And we have got 3 leopards in the offing here. 2 of them in front of us. This is little Tlalamba. She's aged 18 months, and just behind her, her mother Tundi. And they're in a slightly sort of aggressive state because they are separating from each other. Tlalamba is becoming independent. But to throw more into the mix, the father of this young cat is on her way in here, the Duke of Juma, Tingana. So there's a frantic sighting going on here. It is very, very special indeed. The sound you can hear in the background, well, it's the sound of impala alarm calling.
Well, very special indeed. James got absolutely spoiled. It's a special thing to see one leopard, but to see 2 together is always really quite amazing. And it was really what cemented in our minds that this relationship between Tundi and Tlalamba was starting to erode, and that mother-daughter scenario was starting to be broken down as Tundi, well, she prepares for the next generation. We know that she's been pregnant, and so we're still trying to see if she's got any cubs around, but don't go anywhere. We're still looking. Hopefully there'll be a spotted cat around the next corner.
Well, Ribbon has decided to move now. And that has been good fortune for us because it meant that little one came out to greet Mum. I can only imagine what will happen now. Have you rested a little bit or are you still full of beans? No, I'm still full of beans. Oh, look at that. Scratch, scratch. Scratch, 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 scratch. Now I imagine there's quite a lot of parasites and other little things that are in there in the den. Can you imagine a confined space with babies? Sickness is something that must be very common. Constantly itching. That's just the perfect breeding ground for lots of parasites. Warm. Welcome back, everybody. Aren't we lucky that Ribbon has decided to move and her little cub has decided to come out. Now, I'm constantly thinking about June as well because I've seen her cubs around, but at a separate den. June is another mum here in the Juma clan. But this one here that we're with is Ribbon. Now, Ribbon... two cubs were born at the beginning of this year, so they're still fairly young, but they are very curious and very active. Linda, you'd like to know when hyena cubs will start hunting. Well, apparently, between 6 to 9 months, they will start to accompany their adult mum around and actually be moving about and thinking about what other things they could be after. Maybe they'd be involved a little bit more in the actual catching of prey. But in general, until they're about probably 15 months when they actually get their permanent teeth erupt, that'll probably be the only time when they're able to bring something down. But even at that point, they're still fairly reliant on mum because that's also the time where they're possibly completed weaning by that time. So they're still reliant on mum for meat. And all that strong jaw, the strong teeth, all that actually needs time to develop. And while it develops, mum's still very much relied on. Oh, I hear something. Little noises coming from there. Little huffs. Is that you, little one? Well, speaking of little huffs, that incredible interaction that... Oh, it's you, Ribbon. That incredible interaction that James had included quite a lot of animal sounds, so let's go back to those leopards.
Now, Thandi is basically starting to try and make Tlalamba move away and become independent, and we think she may well be pregnant. Now, those other sounds you can hear are human beings obviously talking, their guests in the sighting. Here comes the mother now. I'm just going to get out the way. Mum is growling. You can hear her going. The hissing is the daughter. The growling is the mother. That's the daughter you're looking at there, Tlalamba. And we've got the father coming in from the right-hand side of your picture. I haven't seen him yet, but he'll have been attracted by the sound of this fight. And what's interesting is that we think Tundi, the mother, who's flicking her tail like that, is in fact pregnant again, possibly with another of Tingana's offspring. Now she's chuffing. So that's called chuffing. See that? That's a kind of... It's a very friendly greeting. It's a non-aggressive greeting, and I think she's looking at her father. I don't think... There's the father, to the right-hand side. There we go. There's Tingana. He's coming now. He's smelling where Tundi was marking her territory. Now we're going to get all three of them in one picture. That is fantastic. That is not something you see every day. Isn't this magical?
Good evening, South Africa, and welcome to my vehicle. My name is indeed Steve. I'm joined by Craig Zammit on camera, and what a marvelous evening it is. How special is it, though, to see 3 leopards in one sighting? Now, it might seem quite rare for most people, but here in the Sabi Sands, I can tell you, it happens more often than you would believe. And those 3 I've seen twice together, which is just the most remarkable thing to see 3 leopards in a sighting with the Duke of Juma, and how much tolerance he has for his daughter, the Princess Tlalamba. And it has been such a special journey watching them along the way. The Duke still holding his territory strong, and Tlalamba really carving out a little bit for herself at the moment. And all those sort of talks and speculations of Tundi potentially being pregnant. We've been searching. We haven't managed to find any signs of any den. So that is the way it works. We'll continue to search. And while we head along this road towards our sort of northern section, let's go again back over to Tristan. Indeed we are, Stephen. We are looking very hard for any sign of our nocturnal critters, whether that be a leopard or lions or anything else that is around at night. It's always an interesting thing to be out in the middle of the night in the African wilderness, because you really never know what you're going to see, and there's a lot of animals that come out at night that you don't get to actually see during the day. So things like genets and civets and aardvarks and porcupines and various other things, and scrub hares as that one goes bolting past us across the road. So you get a lot of different things that come out. Oh, did you see that, Jean-Ray? The scrub hare just did a backflip. So we've got an aerobatic scrub hare that is now bolted off into the long grass. So it went flying off there, but it did a backflip while it was running off, which is quite something. Obviously in training maybe for the next Olympic Games for scrub hares. But anyway, as I was saying, you never know what you're going to see at night, and you get incredible behavior that takes place at night. It's also obviously a time when cats are hugely on the move. This is when there'll be territorial marking, there'll be hunting. And so, you know, it's often a time when you'll find cats bumping into each other. And well, we know Pat was with that lion pride and things were very, very, very confusing. Well, it seems as though there was a conflict that was brewing.
Well, this is very sad stuff. Welcome, everyone. It's the marsh pride that has come in and killed the cubs of the Olololo pride. We talk about infanticide in lions a lot. This is the first time I've ever seen it. I'm sorry, this is just very, very hard to see right now. Kind of at a bit of a loss for words here. Sorry, it was a truly insane experience seeing all of the fighting and hearing just the sounds, the loud guttural roars. But to have seen the end result is very sad. Oh no. For now, 2 definitely confirmed. Confirmed dead. This is one of hands down the hardest thing I've ever had to see out here. Can't even put into words what I'm feeling right now, watching this unfold.
what's an incredibly difficult sighting Pat had. Seeing infanticide is in any animal is really very difficult to process, and certainly when it's a pride of lions that you followed for a while and you see that, it really can be quite hard. But it is part and parcel of a lion and a leopard's life out here. It's all the kind of way that they are ensuring that the strongest bloodlines are going forward. So even though it's difficult, it is a part of what goes on. Now, there's a special little nocturnal animal here that is sitting in the tree. You see it there, Jean-Ray. Now, Linda, you say devastating. It is devastating when you see cats fighting like that and unfortunately little cubs paying the price. It really is a devastating thing. Now, I don't know if you saw those branches moving, and that was a little lesser bush baby that was jumping around inside those branches. I'm going to just use my spotlight quickly to try and find it again. Can you see it, Jean-Ray? Now, it's somewhere in there. There we go. You see its eyes? Now, these are nocturnal primates that bounce around, and they will be really active during the night. We were talking about special animals that we can see during the nighttime hours, and this is one of them. These guys will bounce around, and they will visit up to 1,000 trees in a single evening as they go looking for one, food, and two, to try and kind of check around their territory and to try and find as many trees that they can actually farm, which is quite amazing. So they'll go and they'll bite the tree, and the tree will release some sap, and the next day they can visit and harvest that sap. Now, I'm going to just try and shoot forward quickly to see if we can get another view of them. They're very, very agile, little creatures, which makes them hard to find, that's for sure. So lucky that we got a little glimpse, but maybe we can get one more kind of view of them. They often just sit, and if you can just find them with the light. Right, well, we're going to try and scan around the bush on our right-hand side. In the meantime, I'm going to send you off for a short break, but come back soon. Hopefully, we'll have the bush baby again.
My little one has just settled in for a bit of a drink now. Oh, all those paws and underbits look so soft and warm. I'm sure they are. That's why I'm sure that when the cub presses its body onto the mum, it must be so warm. Oh, look at that foot. You'll find that human babies do this too. When they're suckling, they actually they'll put their hands against mum, feet against mum. Just pushing against mum. In a way, it actually helps to push out the milk. You'll know that cats do it quite a bit and they need you. Ah, there we go. Settled in nicely. Is that comfy? Oh, nope, not comfy enough. Oh, it looks so satisfying. Oh, there it goes. Oh, push, push, push. It's all part of the bonding process that mum and cub will have. I know Ribbon does seem to be completely unreactive to it, but I promise there's lots of love between them. Hey, Ribbon. It's almost like she knew. She picked up her ears. Now, there's those whiskers we were talking about. Those are the macro vibraceae, the large whiskers. And you can see she's even got them by her eyes at the top there, from her eyebrow area. That's also very, very common. Oh, and we're going to sleep. We're going to sleep. Are we? Must be a very relaxing ordeal for both mama and cub, except when the cub that's suckling on you has teeth, maybe not so much. I would love to see the reaction of a hyena mum if she gets a little nip from the cub. One of surprise and shock, but I think that would be it. Maybe a few groans. And we're back live, sitting here with Ribbon and her little one. And the little one has decided to snuggle close to Mum and get in for a little dinner. It's absolutely cute, don't you think? Now, cubs will often put their legs on top of Mum, paws on top of Mum, and knead at them, and just to sort of get the bond strengthened, and of course the milk flowing. Now, these hyenas produce a really nutrient-rich milk, almost about 14.1% fat. Now, if you compare that to humans have about 4.5% fat. So there's all that extra fat and, of course, protein that are in the hyena milk that we don't really have in ours. So you can imagine all that rich protein and nutrients in there. And of course, that's exactly what a hyena cub needs in order to grow big and strong like Mum. And at the moment, this cub has both nipples available to it. Now, usually it will share with the other cub that is usually around, but at the moment we're still unsure where it is. Now, the position that this hyena is basically the dominant position, the cub that is in against Mum's body. A cub that's not dominant often takes a position that's exposed, that goes between the Mum's legs towards the back. And that's what the other cub had been, the position the other cub had been in the other times we had seen it. But there is a lot of dynamics when it comes to hyenas, and there is a strict but openly competitive hierarchy. So let's learn a little bit more about them here and up in the Masai Mara.
The spotted hyena has a reputation as a sinister, thieving scavenger. This, as we have come to realize, is utter nonsense. Rather, hyenas are highly intelligent, affectionate, and resourceful creatures. They live in matriarchal clans centered around a den. Like a female-dominated village where the cubs play and learn their social place under the protection of a chieftainess and her subjects. Young cubs are cute, but scrappy and tough. Males are at the bottom of the social pile. Sometimes they loiter about the den, but mostly they forage away from the mums and kids. As with all animals, there is a chilling side to hyena. They are viciously territorial, and there is no mercy for those who challenge the hierarchy. Although the clans continue to dispute their reputation as devious scavengers, we are often reminded why they are one of the most feared predators in all of nature.
Hyena dynamics are certainly complex. And you'll find that even when hyenas come through and they greet each other, it's just such a spectacle. And I'm really hoping that some of the other adults will come through and you'll see exactly how they greet each other, how they assert their dominance or subordinance, and you'll even be able to tell where they fit in with the rank in their hierarchy. Now, Ribbon is quite a low-ranking female, and her cubs would inherit her rank. And she will almost exclusively feed her own cubs, but you often observe things in the wild that are not exactly in the textbooks. Like we would hear that mums won't suckle other cubs, they'll just suckle their own. But some animals, in some instances, the subordinate females can be forced to suckle a matriarch's cub, and that's just something we've seen. But other things that we haven't seen in textbooks are 3 leopards in one sighting, and definitely not leopards interacting so socially.
So we've got the big old Duke Tingana, aged 13 odd, and his daughter's approaching him. Look at that. That is just beyond magical. There's been physical contact, and watch, she's chuffing all the time at him. Chuff, chuff, chuff. There, you can see the little movement in her face. Chuff, chuff, chuff. Just saying to her dad, "Hi, Dad. Oh, I don't mean any harm. It's lovely to see you." And Now she's chuffing at her mother, who's moving slightly away towards the right-hand side. There we've got daughter approaching father again. But what's amazing about this is that you don't read it in the textbooks. You don't read about especially daughters having contact with their fathers like this, especially when they're as old as she is. I'm sure it does happen, but we don't see it often. This is so special, and especially that there was physical contact. Tlalamba has moved away from Tingana. Tandi's gone off to the left-hand side of your picture, and she's still chuffing. It's almost like she's kind of trying to cause or make her parents join up again. And she's now calling like a little cub. She's looking towards Tandi. Now she's calling Tandi.
Well, absolutely amazing to see Tingana and Tlalamba interact like that. And as James was saying and Trish was alluding to, it really is an incredible thing that we get to see these animals often enough that we can see these interactions that are quite rare. And I must say, after following Tingana for many, many years, he seems this is the most tolerant that I've seen him with a cub of his. He seems to allow Tlalamba a lot more physical contact than he has any of the other cubs. Normally, he has a bit of a growling sort of notion, and as they come close, he hisses and growls, and then they walk off. But Tlalamba, he seems to allow her to actually sniff and kind of poke her nose into all kinds of areas, really, and that's quite interesting. It's quite sort of intriguing to see his difference in this cub, and what that means is obviously something that we don't really know at all. But amazing to see. Right, now, Rosemary, compared to a lot of the leopards that we see, and you're wondering how many lion prides do we see if we're seeing so many leopards? Well, Rosemary, there's 3 different lion prides that are female-based, so it's, or 4 actually, possibly. So you've got the pride that we see the most in the Nkuhumas, and then you've got the Styx pride, who have taken a massive wonder of late. They lost their eldest female in the pride, and they've moved drastically through the Sabi Sands area, and so they've gone quite far east, south, west, all over the place, and so we haven't seen them for quite a while. And then we've got the 2 sort of northern prides in the form of the Talamatis and the Torchwood pride. So that's the sort of 4 main prides that you would see in this particular area. Every now and then we might get a different pride that comes through, but normally around this time when it's so dry and wintry, that's when we normally see different lions coming. Now, all of those lions that I've just mentioned are in control of 2 different coalitions, which is the Birmingham males and the Avoca males. And we see the Avoca males mostly. We used to see the Birminghams, but they have since moved a little bit further south, and that's probably why the Styx have followed them down through that area. Now, we've been talking about lion prides now and male coalitions, and well, Pat had that very difficult sighting where he had 2 different lion prides and a male coalition all at once.
Oh no, so this is the mother. She has returned to look for her cubs. That poor mother, she is totally outnumbered here. Well, she didn't really stand a chance. There she is down the side of the bank here, and there's no way she's going to get back to those cubs. Wow. So still a lot of tension in the air right now.
Guys, you've joined us just in time. We'll get into Pat's really difficult sighting and the amazing audio that you heard through that, but what we've got is one of our most special little cats that we see at night. We've been talking about all of these nocturnal creatures that we can see, and this is an African wildcat. Now, African wildcats are very difficult to see, and so we're going to try and follow it. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back shortly. How special is this? Is that we've got a wildcat that's busy hunting. We're going to try and see if we can actually follow it a little bit. It seems as though it's hunting small little rodents, and you saw just now, actually, as we kind of came out of Pat's sighting, that it followed a moth, and it was watching that, and typical of cats as they kind of follow things. But I'm just going to try and turn the car a little bit. Obviously, you've got to try and keep an eye on it as well. But I'm a bit worried if we go off-road that it's going to probably run a little bit. It sat ever so nicely for us for sort of about 20 seconds and had a good look at us and kind of was like, what are you guys doing here and who are you? Now, I've lost visual of it. Have you seen it? Gendre? No, I think it's just in this long grass here. Just want to go slowly. Somewhere here. Where did you go, little wildcat? They are very difficult to spot sometimes. I mean, they are quite small in comparison to obviously things like leopards and lions. I would imagine that it was somewhere here. Oh no, it seems as though it's given us the slip. Well, it's still amazing to kind of see where it was and to actually get a view of it. Very special. So there it is there. It's just on our left-hand side and it's moving, I think, into the longer grass. I'm just going to try and go around, Gendre. Now we are going to be coming out of our ad break shortly, so I'm going to stop speaking. Live to South Africa. We're still sitting with this little wildcat. It's gone deep into this long grass at the moment and is just hiding away for the time being. I'm hoping that it's going to come out again because it is really special to see these guys. In fact, I haven't seen one of these in almost 6 months, so that gives you an idea of how special it is to see them. Now remember, we want to hear from all of you, so remember you can ask questions on hashtag safariLIVE on Twitter. Now, the last time I saw it with my spotlight was somewhere in that long grass, so what we're going to do is we're going to just try to get a little closer and just see if I can spot anything close by. But I'm super excited because to see one of these guys is as special as it gets. So let's just have a little quick look. It might have just slunk away while we were sitting here, but it was definitely somewhere close by. So we're going to try and just have a little look around here. Oh, I don't see anything unless it's sitting. There it is, there. Can you see it, Gendre? It's just going to get across a little bit. There it goes. So you can just see it over the grass. I'm going to move my spotlight out the way. Gendre, it's just facing away from us. Let me go forward a little bit for you, Gendre. There we go. You might just see its ears poking up. Look at that. Now, it looks very much like a domestic cat, and they are obviously something that is very closely related to domestic cats, and in fact their bloodline is being tainted by domestic cats on the edges of these game reserves. And the difference though is that you see their tail is slightly shorter and very, very long legs, and they'll move around in the cover of night, and they're going to hunt all kinds of small little rodents, lizards, birds, and they'll try and find these things, and they generally hunt in little open grasslands like this. Now, normally with wildcats, because they don't get seen often, they normally are very, very, very shy, but this one is super relaxed, and so I'm so excited that we're able to follow it. I'm going to keep trying to see if we can get another view of it. It's just gone off to my left-hand side here, but it doesn't seem too perturbed by us, which is really quite something. Now, there's a road coming up, and I'm hoping that it's going to go back towards the road, because then we can get it right out in the open, and you can see those long legs that I was talking about. There it is there. Now, never too late. How big is a wildcat? There we go, it's on the road. Now, I'm just going to turn the light off it because it relaxes a lot more when the light's off. There it walks. Now, never too late. It's pretty much the same size as your domestic cat. So I would say probably weighs about, well, particularly this individual here, I would say probably weighs in at about 4 kilograms, and is probably from nose to tail not much longer than about, I would say, 70 centimeters, around that size. It doesn't have a hugely long tail like some other cat species like leopard or cheetah, but it does have an incredibly long legs, so it stands quite tall, which is quite amazing. Now, let's just see where it went. I think it went onto the road again, the big main road, and we'll maybe get another look. Now, where has it gone? I'm hoping that it's here somewhere. Right, now, there it's going down the road, so we're going to try catch up with it. In the meantime, though, I'm going to send you across to have a look at just how often our cats can have conflict.
While the big cats spend most of their time asleep, their waking hours are often filled with a violent conflict for mates, food, and territory. There is no room for chivalry amongst leopards. This grizzled old male thinks nothing of stealing food from a hard-working young female. The stability of a cheetah coalition's territory is often shattered by a fight for dominance. A lion's size will always deter its hyena cousins. But confronting the clan can shift the balance. But safety is not always found in numbers. Even a pack of wild dogs can fall prey to a stalking lion. This dog and cat debate is over.
Well, as you can see, it's a hard life to be a cat, and even these little cats, while we saw mostly things to do with lions and leopards and cheetah, even these little wild cats will be territorial and will have to fight and try and kind of keep each other at bay in order to survive out here and thrive. Now, of course, we were talking about lion and leopards. They are some of the biggest threat to wildcats, particularly leopard. A leopard comes across this little wildcat, it will hunt it, and so wildcats need to be very, very careful of leopards. It's why they like to hunt more in these open clearings. It allows them to see things like leopards coming along. And I can tell you that this is one of the best wildcat sightings I've ever had. For a wildcat to sit like that and watch us as we're moving around it is absolutely phenomenal. Now you can see it's not even paying attention to us anymore. It's actually listening out and looking and trying to find any sign of prey items, whether that be little mice, like I said, or lizards, or anything that could be out and about. Even sometimes small snakes, they'll go after those, and that's what they'll try and hunt, which is absolutely incredible. Good, we're going to try and see if we can maybe keep up with our wildcat. In the meantime, though, we're going to send you back to James those weeks ago, where he was trying to keep up with the leopards.
It's quite difficult to figure out exactly what's going on. So there goes Tlalamba back towards her mum. So that's mum looking at us. But isn't it interesting that she's following her mum, who showed her nothing but displeasure and aggression with those growls and salivating and then marking and scraping. And her father showed none of the same. In fact, I've never seen her dad not growl at her when he's been close by. So that's Thandi on the left and Tlalamba on the right. There's Tingana. He's marking his territory with a sawing call as the sun sets. Now what's fascinating here is that if Thandi does have another cub here, it is possible that this aggression, this anger, is born of the fact that she does have another little cub here. If there is another cub around here, or another 2 or 3 cubs, they'll only be probably, I don't know, less than a week old, probably 3 or 4 days old only, which will just be magnificent. What an astonishing sighting to have 3 leopards in one place. A little family reunion. Just magic.
Thandi's behavior is certainly aggressive, but it's sort of out of a need to push Tlalamba into independence. Now, with hyenas, it's slightly different. The female cubs usually stay in the clan while the males disperse, and the cubs do inherit their mum's rank. Like this little cub here will still be pretty low ranking, just like Ribbon, but it can always increase its rank as it builds friendships and fights, obviously. Keith, you'd like to know why the cubs have spots and when do they disappear? It actually works the opposite way. When cubs are born, they have no spots. They're completely black. And then as they develop, they get spotty. About 3 months in, they start to lose that black coat and then they get spotty. And the reason for that dense black coat is because in the safety of the den in the darkness, the cub needs to be secure and safe and hidden from anything that can poke its head in there. But this guy's beautiful spots have just come out a few months ago, and it's nice to see that transition. Absolutely stunning. And look at him go. Now, I'm not sure if these are female cubs or if one is a male, but even Ribbon herself was thought to be a male because she hadn't, well, we couldn't tell. It's so hard. But maybe when we come back, we can have a good look at this hyena and find out whether it's a boy or a girl. That was just perfect, the way that little cub tumbled us into ad. And I'm actually, I love how Ribbon just doesn't react at all. Not at all. And I'm not even sure what the cub is doing because it looked like it was after a nipple, but it seems like it's gone too far for a nipple. Yep, you don't know what you're doing. You're just scraping yourself on the ground. Well, it was scratching earlier, so maybe something has irritated it. A few parasites making it itchy. And look at that grass that Ribbon has managed to drag onto her coat. Shame. You need a dusting, Ribbon. And this cub, is struggling to do what... Oh, there you go. There you have the position you want. Oh, and just when you get the position you want, Mom moves you. Maybe it's time for play. Oh. Oh, so entertaining. Jumping about, jumping about. I love how they're just a miniature version of the parent. Oh man. The mum has just walked off, a little off to our right. Where did you go, girl? I can still hear you rustling. This cubby's going to find Mum. Hey? Run, run, run. You can't catch me. Welcome back live, everybody. Now, the mystery of whether this cub is male or female is still not solved because it is bounding about and not showing me the important places I need to look at. Now, interestingly, hyenas have what is called a pseudopenis. Now, while I speak to you about this, let me just move a little because I suspect that ribbon has actually moved off. And in general, we don't like to be at the den when there aren't any adults around because we don't want to be the reason that any cubs come into conflict with other animals. Now, we saw what happened with Pat and the lions earlier in the year, and hyenas also can have some conflict with hyenas. In fact, Corky, the matriarch, was attacked by one of the Avoca males in November last year, but she was resilient and strong and she managed to come back just in a few days. But let's go back to Pat's incident there and actually get an explanation of what happened and how it all unfolded from Pat's mouth.
There has been a whole little story unfold out here, unfortunately that of a bit of sadness. So it started out that this hippo this morning was found dead of unknown causes, but it wasn't from the lions themselves. And it has attracted the attention of a couple of prides, the Olololo pride and the Marsh pride, as well as two older males that we can see just to the right here. Now, unfortunately, something that does happen in the lions is infanticide, which is, if you're a sensitive viewer, please look away or don't listen. There has been two cubs, unfortunately, killed here during the last hour or so. There was a big fight, a big fight, and this is, unfortunately, the aftermath here. That is the other cub. So very sad stuff, but it is just the process of nature. It is the cycle of life, and it is what these lions are programmed to do. It's in their genetics, and so it's just something that we have to accept. The prides that the cubs were from were the Olololo pride. Wow, it was almost deafening, some of the sounds that were coming out of these lions during the big fight. It was, I don't even know how to describe it without sounding too colloquial, to be honest. It was pandemonium, an eruption, absolute chaos.
You're back with us live here in Juma, everybody, and what incredible, although sad scenes those are indeed, with what was actually the Marsh Pride and the Olololo Pride. When lions clash, it can be quite spectacular, and then some days you can see things just like that. The death of some cubs. It is never ideal. Sorry, I meant to say the River Pride there. It is quite tricky up in the Mara to always get a proper identification in these prides. Lions in general, you need to have very specific characteristics of them, a kinky tail or some really funny ears or things like that. Scars generally change over time as the conflict continues through the life of a lion. It doesn't change. From early on, they're under threat from all sorts of things. And Nelson wants to know what other animals are predators for lions, and can be all sorts. I mean, lions aren't known for killing cubs to eat them, but they do kill them from time to time, and then every now and again they will eat them because it's food available. Hyenas are an incredible threat to lion cubs themselves. To adults, a group of hyenas can be quite formidable, but generally you wouldn't consider them their predators. But snakes in the den site, snakes can be a problem. Pythons or cobras, the python probably to eat them, the cobra just out of a means of biting something that's probably playing with its head. Snakes can be quite sort of dangerous like that. And then obviously birds of prey could also from time to time fall under the predator of small mammals, and a small lion cub would definitely fall under that if it was vulnerable. But generally, lions, king of the jungle, they generally do look after it for themselves. And you see most of the lion deaths are through cubs, and if there are deaths, it's males killing males, or every now and again in conflict like what you saw, other females killing other females. You saw those males weren't really getting involved. They were just trying to sort of hold the ladies off from each other, and all of that calling afterwards was sort of out of rage and mourning at the same time. Which is always sometimes sad, as I said. But enough of that about the lions. Let's go back over to Tristan and see what he's up to.
We have, Steve. We have had a very nice evening. To be able to have seen a bush baby and scrub hares and then a wildcat is really very, very special. Now, I know a lot of people will be like, well, it's just a small cat. It looks just like a domestic cat. But I can tell you, after being out here for many, many years, sightings of rare small cats like that are just as special as seeing any of the big cats. You spend a lot of time out here and we see a lot of different things, but very seldom do we get to hang out with wildcats or servals or anything like that. And so having a sighting of a wildcat where it's as relaxed as that one is very, very special. So I thoroughly enjoyed that, and I think we got spoiled. It might have been difficult to see it at times because of how small it is in the long grass, but very special to see nonetheless. Right, now our wildcats unfortunately evaded us and left us, but Trish's hyenas have stuck with her through thick and thin, and so send you back across to Trish with her very relaxed hyena.
My animals are very relaxed, and we have somebody else coming to the den now. I didn't get a good look, but it's definitely not Ribbon. Ribbon is sitting all the way down here, relaxing after having to take care of her little one. Well, that is her typical face. Now, this little cub has a lot of beans and is full of excitement. It looks like he's drank lots and lots of coffee. I wonder if he's just taking advantage of being able to play with all his mates without his sibling or her sibling around. Now, I do wonder where that other cub is, and I really hope that we'll see it soon. And then hopefully we'll be able to get a sex ID on both of those cubs. There you go, Ribbon. Are you relaxing in for the night? Ribbon is doing much that we are going to be doing too, and I hope you will as well. Settling in for the night in a comfy position, fully fed, just like that cub. Anyway, it's been an awesome episode. We'll see you next week, same time, same place. Have a good evening, and bye for now.